Yeah. So today's topic, we'll be discussing about the joins in SQL. Okay. So in SQL, but these joins, is my voice is audible? Yeah. Is my screen is visible to everyone, right? Anyone please confirm so that I can continue the
Yes,
class?
yes.
Yeah, done. Right. So the important concept that we will be studying here today is the joins in SQL. So actually these joins in the SQL, we also perform this joint operation in Power Query also. But we use the joins in order to understand the concepts of joins. You need to know that this joins concept is similar to that of the merge concept which we are using in Power Query. In the Power Query, we use merge concept. I will explain how we have seen in the previous class how we perform the merge operation. So the merge operation that we have performed will be similar to that of the joins operation which are we perform in the SQL. So in order to understand the clear-cut idea about merge concept in the Power Query, you need to understand the concepts of the joins in SQL. Okay. So what is the meaning of this joins in the SQL? So this concept of joins will be helpful when you go to the Power Query. When we go to the Power Query, suppose we have different types of the tables we have loaded, right? So I will discard the changes. We have the different types of the tables. Suppose we have the employee table here and we have the department table here. So right now in the Power BI desktop, now I want to go to Power Query. So how we can go to the Power Query? Power Query is useful for transforming your data. So that's why you will go to the transform data. Once you click on the transform data, you will go to the Power Query. Now, yesterday we have discussed some merge concept. What is the merge concept we have discussed? Suppose I have employee table. This is the employee table. In the employee table, I have some columns starting from employee number to department number. So I have some columns. In the yesterday class, what I have said, to this at the end of this column, I want to get the data from other table, say that is department table. So in the department table, I have department name and location. I want to bring these two columns and I want to add these columns to the employee table, which should be added at the end. Okay, that is the requirement that we have discussed yesterday. So how we have done by following a concept called merge concept we have followed, right? So how we have followed just to this employee table, you want to merge the tables columns which are present in the department table, right? So we have seen merge queries. We have clicked on merge queries as new. When you click on the merge queries as new, see, we have select the employee table. The employee table is reflected here. So this, we want to add the data from which table? I want to add the data from department table. So I'm selecting the department over here, right? So in the department, we have seen the department, we have department name and location. So what is the requirement that I have explained you? So if I take the screenshot, my requirement is I want to add bring this location table. It should add over here. And this department name, it should be add over here. So separate two columns should be created. In this column, the department name should come. So here in this column, department name should come and the location, it should be added over here. So that is my requirement. So in order to achieve this, we follow the concept called as merge. First, we select the employee table and department table. So in order to add that columns over here, there should be one rule that these two columns should have some common ID. Based upon that common ID only, we will join it. So when you look at this table in the employee table, you have the department number. When you look at the department table, we have the department number. This department number and this department number, these are the common IDs, right? Based upon this common ID, I will select this department number, select this department number. So based on the common IDs are selected. Now, if you click on OK, these two tables will come and join over here. So this is called as join concept. When you do this operation in the SQL, we call it as joins. But when we do it in Power Query, this concept is called merge. And when you look at in the SQL, we have left joint, right joint, inner joint, outer joint, self joint. So different type of the Cartesian joints are there. When you see in the merge also, you can see here, we can also perform left joint, right joint, full outer joint, inner joint, left anti joint, right anti joint. So these are the topics that we will be discussing today. Okay. So in the Power Query, they will ask one question: what is the default joint that will be present in the when you perform merge operation? So when you perform merge operation, by default, it will take a left outer joint. So now I want to add this column to over here. I will click on OK. Once you click on OK, see, we have taken merge queries as new, right? So new table will be created. Now here, this table, we call it as, we can try to rename the table. So have I explained this previously also, employee table plus department table. In the bracket, I'm using join or merge. So I have merged, I added this to table by using merge concept. So just now you can see when you close observe here in this employee table, but we don't have here the columns are not added. In the department name, we have location and department is not added, but it is showing as table, table, table. So in that condition, you need to come and you need to expand this. Once you expand, you to deselect all and don't select department number again, because already in the employee table, we have department number and the department table also department number. If you select department number, it will come as duplicate. But from the department table, I have department name. I need to select location column. Now you click on OK. So in the final, this from starting from here to here, from employee name to department number, these are the columns which are present in the employee table. And department and location, these two are present in the department table. See, department and location. We have successfully got the data of department and location and we added to the employee table, and this you can see. And how you can confirm that this department name and location is coming from department table? So before that department name, you have department dot. That means this department name is coming from department table. Location in before department data location, that means this location column is calling from the department. So this is how you perform the joint operation. Okay. Now let us see this merge concept that we are discussing over here. It is following the joins concept in the SQL. So first you need to understand that SQL joins, then only you can able to understand how we are able to understand first what is joins, what are the types of joins, how we can theoretically understand the joins, and let us do one practical scenario of how to calculate the number of records in the joint. And after that, we'll go for the practical session, each and every joint. Now with this basic, I will move on to the joints concept over here, which will be very interesting and very important topic. So when you ask me what are the different types of the joints, it may be generally in SQL point of view, there will be four types of the joints. The first joint we call it as inner joint, second left outer joint, third we call it as right outer joint, fourth we call it as full outer joint. These are the major joints. Apart from that, we have other joints also, self joints, Cartesian joint or cross joint. So this majority we will not use in the real time, but most of in the real time, these are the four major joints that you can use in the real time project. And mostly in this also left and inner joint will be used more frequently. Now let us understand the step by step how the different types of the joints will perform, and let us see with the example. Okay, so my screen is not changing. So everyone is able to see the screen, right? Inner joint screen is visible for everyone. Please confirm. Hello? Hello?
I think you need to expand it, sir.
Yeah, I have
Zoom.
expanded it. It is coming as full screen. Whether you are able to see the inner joint? Inner
Yes,
joints
sir.
like,
Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, done. So what is meant by inner joint? In order to understand this inner joint, we have two tables. Suppose we have employee table and second we have the department table. So what is meant by inner joint? When you perform the inner joint, it will pull out the common records which are present in between the table. Suppose this table has some records, this table B has some record. When you perform the inner joint, it will pull out the common records which are present in both the tables. So in the this table and table B, what are the records which are common in the both tables that it will extract? That is called as inner joint. As of now, you no need to understand this formula because you are not writing any formula in the Power Query. If you perform this inner joint in the SQL, you need to like select A star comma B from table A to perform inner joint table B, and you need to mention what is the common ID. This type of the formula that you need to understand, you need to write in the SQL. But when we have performed the left outer joint, did we performed any written any formula? Just we have selected merge two tables. We went to merge queries as new. We have selected the common column. Just click on OK. The left outer joint is performed automatically. But if you want to perform that operation in the SQL, you need to write this formula. But right now we are not worried about the SQL. We are discussing about the Power Query. Just you need to understand the concept. And once I do the practical session, the Power Query, you will understand more detail. But you need to first understand the theoretical concept. Then only the topic will be understand to you. So we have the table 1 and table 2. When your client is asking, I want to pull out the common records which are present in the table and table B, then you perform the inner joint. So this area is the common for both table and table B. The records present here will be pulled out when you perform the inner joint. Suppose take the example. This is the employee table and this is the department table. So what is the common ID between these two tables? When you look at the employee table and when you look at the department table, in the employee table, we have department ID, right? In the department table, we have the department ID. So these are the common IDs. Okay. So when you perform the inner joint, so based on this common ID, what are the common records are there? That common records it will pull out, that we call it as inner joint. See, department ID 101, 101. Based upon this common ID, it will pull out 1 John 48,000, 101, 101 sales. This record you got. Because based upon this common key, it has pulled out this. And 102 here you have 102 per department ID, here also 102. Based on this common ID, it will pull out to Charles 15,000, 102, 102 marketing. But it will not pull this record. Tina 60,000, 103, 104 finance. Because here department ID is 103 and department ID is 104, there is no common ID. Okay. So these are not the matching records. So 101, 102 is present in employee table department ID. Based upon that, it will pull this data. 101, 102 it is present department table based on this common ID. Only the first two rows, this John 48,000 sales, Charles 60,000 marketing. This only you will get in the department in the inner joint. When you perform the inner joint, it will go and see what are the matching records present in between these two tables. Those matching records only will be pulled out when you perform the inner joint. So how you can say these are the matching records? Based upon the department ID, it will try to pull the common records. But 103, 104 like Tina, there is no matching ID for this. So these records will not get in the final output. This process, we call it as inner joint. We have table A and table B. Your client is asking what are the common records that are there common for both the tables. If he's asking such information, you need to perform the inner joint. Okay, this is very clear. Now let us go to the left outer joint. So just now we have performed the left outer joint, right? So what is meant by left outer joint? First, you need to understand the definition of left outer joint. So this is called as table A. This is called as table A. This is called as table B. What is meant when you perform the left outer joint? First, it will perform inner joint. That means, see this, it will pull out the matching records which are present in both sides of the table. So this shaded area, it is called as matching records of both records which are present in the table. So, and it also returns all rows from the left side of the table. So when you perform the left outer joint, It will perform all rows from left side of the table. Whatever the records which are present the left side of the table, it will pull out, and also matching records from the both side of the table. So when you perform this area, this area is a matching records for both table A and B, right? So when you perform the left joint, it will pull out the matching records from both side of the table and also all the records from the left side of the table. So that is called as left outer joint. Left outer joint returns all rows from the left side of the table. So all rows from the left side of the table and matching rows from the right side of the table. So this is the right side of the table. It is not getting all records from the right side of the table, but there are some matching records in the right side of the table. Those records it is getting. And you can see, so what about this non-matching records? For left record, this white space with these are called non-matching records. Whenever for non-matching records in the right side of the table, this left outer joint will give the nulls. That means empty value, null, null. Okay. For non-matching records, for every non-matching records in the right side of the table, it will return the null values. So let us see the example here. We have see left outer joint means it returns all records from the left side of the table and matching records from only matching records from the right side of the table. For non-matching records on the right side of the table, it will give the null values. Now let us see the example over here. You have this employee table and you have the department table. So what is the common ID? So first left outer joint, what I said, it will perform the inner joint. So what is the inner joint? It will perform 1 common ID, 102 common ID. So all records, what are the common IDs which are there? So John, Charles, sales, marketing, it will pull out. So it perform the inner joint perfect. Now left outer joint means it also returns all records from the left side of the table. So when John, Charles already it has came by using inner joint, what is left? 3, Tina, 60,103. So that is a record left, right? So it returns all records from the left side of the table. So this records also we got. Now, what about you can ask me 104 finance? See, 103, 104, these are not matching IDs, right? Department ID is 103. Try to pull the record, but there is no matching records. TNR 60,103, 104. These are the non-matching records, 104 and finance. So for that, it will not bring that non-matching records, 104 finance. Instead, what it will do for all non-matching records in the right side of the table, 104 and finance, these are the non-matching records. For non-matching records, what it will return? It will return nulls. So the empty space, we call it as nulls. So this is in the minute way that you need to observe the concept. So if you work on the real-time data also, you will not confuse with the joints. So first left outer joint means it will look the common ID. It will perform the inner joint. It will pull out the matching record. Second step, it will pull out all the records from the left side of the table. Already John, Charles, we got through inner joint. What is left? 3 Tina 60,000 that it will get over. And what about the non-matching records? So in the right side of the table, we have non-matching records. Instead of this man, for all match records on the right side of the table, it will return the null. So no match records are there, it will create empty values. That means it will bring the null values. So this is called as left outer joint. Okay. Just we have seen in the example that we performed in the Power Query, what is the default joint which is there in the Power Query? The answer is left outer joint. If you not mention anything, it will perform the left outer joint. So we have finished what is inner joint and left outer joint. Now let us go to right outer joint. You need to say this. This is opposite to that of left outer joint. If you understand the left outer joint clearly, so the right outer joint will be quite easy with this opposite to that of the left outer joint. Now let us see. Right outer joint means right outer joint will also perform the inner joint. That means it will pull. This is the right side of the table. Right, table B is the right side of the table. So this it will pull the matching records from the left side of the table. Now this table be the right side of the table and the table A be the left side of the table. So from the left side of the table, it will pull the matching records. So this is the shaded area. We call it as matching records for both table and B, table A and B. So it returns and it pull the matching records from the left side of the table. And as we perform in the right outer joint, it will pull all the records from the right side of the table. Okay, when you perform the right outer joint, it will pull all records from the right side of the table, and from the left side of the table, it will bring only matching records. Now you can ask me, sir, what about the non-matching records which are there in the left side of the table? For non-matching records in the left side of the table, it will return the null value. So same definition you can see. Right outer join, it returns all rows from the right side of the table. So this is the shaded region. And matching records from left side of the table. So this only central part. So from the right side of the table, it bring out only matching record. For all non-matching records from the left side of the table. So this white area are called non-matching record. For that, what it will return? It will return the null values. So this is how you need to understand the right outer join. Now, if you see not in the pictorial representation, when you come to the table view, so we have an employee table, we have the department table. In the employee table also, what is the right outer join? Again, it will perform which joint? Inner join. So what are the two common IDs which are there? 101, 101, 102. So based on this common ID, it will bring John Charles sales marketing, John salary, employee ID, department IDs. It will try to pull the records 101, 101 sales, Charles 55,000, 101, 102 marketing. So based on the common ID, right? Now it will left right outer join. It will pull out all records from the right side of the table. Sales 101 sales already is a common ID we got. 102 marketing, it is a common ID we got. What is the left? 104 finance. So this is the right side of the table, right? So it should bring all records from the right side of the table. Sales, marketing, finance. 101, 102, 104, 102, 104, 104, sales, market, right? And what about the left side of the table? See, we have 104 finance, this department ID, but department is 103. These are the non-matching records in the left side of the table. So these records are not matching. For non-matching records, see, for all non-matching records from the left side of the table, it will return the nulls. So we are getting the nulls. Okay, we are getting the nulls over here. This is called as right outer join. It returns all rows from the right side of the table. See, we got here and matching rows from the left side of the table. 101, 102 is matching. These matching rows we got. For all non-matching records from the left side of the table, these are the non-matching records. It will give the return the null values. We got the null values over here. So this is called as a right outer join. All records from the right side of the table, matching records from the left side of the table, and for non-matching records, it will bring the null values. Okay, we have discussed about inner joint, left joint, right joint. Now let us discuss about full outer joint. What is meant by full outer joint means it will perform left joint, it will perform inner joint, it will perform the right joint. So all joints it will perform. So that means it will pull out all the records from the both side of the table. So it returns all the rows from the both the left and right side of the table. For all non-matching records from both the tables, it will return the nulls. If while performing the left joint, it will bring the nulls for non-matching records in the right side of the table. When you perform the right outer joint, it will throw the nulls for non-matching records in the right side of the table. That means it perform inner joint, it perform the right joint, it perform the left joint. So see, we got matching records. John Charles 101 sales, George Charles 102 marketing. So the first two steps, it has performed the inner joint here from John Charles, because that means it has performed the inner joint. Now left joint. Now the third step, it performed the left joint. That means it pulled out records from the left side of the table, but we don't have any records from right. So for the left joint, we don't have matching records. Okay, for that it will create the nulls. So that means in the third step, this one, it performed the left outer joint. And again, when you look at here, so inner joint we got, left outer joint completed, right outer joint. Right outer joint, it pulls all records from the right side of the table. 101 sales, 102 marketing, 104 finance. So all we got. Then what about the left joint in the left side of the table? While perform the right side of the right outer joint, we have non-matching records. For non-matching records, we got the null value. So here first two lines, it perform inner joint. And in the third one, it perform the left joint. In the fourth step, we have discussed it perform the right outer joint. That means full outer joint will perform inner joint, right joint, and left joint. So this is how you need to discuss, understand the full outer joint. Okay. Now, again, what is meant by self joint? Self joint means we are not use. Joining the table with the same table, we call it as self joint. So we have the table A. We want to join the records from that table, from the table B. and we have to join the table with the same table. We call it as same self joint. Sometimes we need to join table with the same table. We call that joint as a self joint. Okay, just for the definition you remember. So mostly we use inner joint. While selecting the self joint, they will perform, mostly they will use the inner joint. Joining the table with the same table, we call it as inner joint. Okay, so we'll be having the same matching IDs based on employee ID. See, these are employee 1, 2, 3, 4 employee IDs. So same matching parts will be get. So join the table, but in the real time, there will be no use for making the self joint, but it is for theoretical understanding what is self joint. So you say join the table with the same table, we call self joint based on the common ID will do. So mostly while doing the self joint, we'll perform the inner joint. Okay, that is the self joint. Now this is also Cartesian joint. Cartesian joints also will not use in the real time actually, but for the interview purpose, they will ask what is meant by Cartesian joint. So when you perform the Cartesian joints, we have how many rows? You will get the records as multiplication. Suppose we have a table, employee table, we have 2 rows. See 1, 2, employee 2 rows. In the department table also we have 2 rows. When you perform the Cartesian joints, we will get the 2 into 2. That means 4. You will get the 4 rows. That means 4 records you will get. Now you can ask me, sir, how you are getting these 4 records? Okay. When you perform this Cartesian joint, see, based upon the common ID, John sales one, this department ID, every department ID, that means every record will go and scan each other record in other table. So now we go John 48,101. This records will scan this 101 sales, it will bring. Okay. So again, John 48101, it will go and pull this record also 10102 marketing. Now Charles 50,102,101 sales. Okay. Charles 50,102. Here, this is a mistake they have made. John 48,000 instead of this 102, they need to mention 101. This is a spelling mistake. Okay. This is a spelling mistake actually. Suppose you take in case of Cartesian joint, every record will go and bring each other records in the right side of the table. See John 48,101. Okay. John 48,101. What it will do? It will go and bring John 48,101 this and 101 sales it will bring. Same John 48,101 it will go 102 marketing. It will bring that record. When here also Charles 502 102, it will go and bring 101 sales and same record it will 102 marketing. So every record in a table will go and bring the every other, it will go and scan each other record in other table and it will bring that record. That's why when you perform the Cartesian joints, we will get the multiplication. So if table A has 1 row, the table A has 2 rows, table B has 3 rows, 2 into 3, 15 rows you will get. That means every record is every row of a table will be joined with every row of other table. This see John Charles 101, it will join with 101 sales. John 48101, this row will join with 102 marketing. That is completed. Now come to second row. 2 Charles 55,102, it will join with 101 sales. Again, this 2 John 55,102, it will join with 102 marketing. So every row go and scan all other records in the nested table. That's why you will get output as multiplication. But in the real time also, we will not perform that operation. So, but you need to understand the theoretical concept. They will ask, I have an employee table, we have 3 records. In the department table, I has 5 records. How many records you will get in the final output? 3 into 5, 15. Suppose if the table A has 5 records, it has 6 records. I want to perform the Cartesian joint. How I will get 5 into 6, 6 5 30 I will get. Okay, that is it. So every row of a table will be joined with every other row table. There will be no joinkins between the two tables or no need to specify them. So here you no need to mention any inner joint, outer joint, no specific will be not there. We'll get output row count as multiplication of both the tables row count. Suppose table has 10, table B has 10, 10 into 10, 100 rows you will get. So that is called as Cartesian joint. Now you understand this, the theoretical concept, what is inner joint, what is outer joint, what is right joint, what is self joint, what is Cartesian joint. But in the real time, they will in the real time interview, important interview question means They will ask one table, they will give two tables, and they will ask if you perform the inner joint, how many tables, how many records you will get in the final output. So they will ask this type of the questions. This will be very tricky. But if you understand it very carefully, you can able to understand, you can crack this question very easily. But you need to have some common sense and you need to build some logic for it. Okay. See, suppose in the if the interviewer asks this type of the if they ask in the joint question, they will ask this type of the question in the interview for sure. Suppose you have given the table, suppose table A. They have given other table called as table B. Now they will ask, if I perform the inner joint, how many records will get in the final table if I perform the inner joint? Okay, right. What is meant by inner joint? When you perform the inner joint, you can see the inner joint means it will pull out the matching records from both sides of the table, right? So for this table A, there is one. So how many matcher records are there for this in the table B? You have one. So for this, you have one is there. That one will come here. Okay, one. Now in the table, we have two. And it will go and search for in this two whether there are matching records for there in the table B. For this two, one is non-matching, it will not count. But for this two, you have this two, one. It will count one. And for this two also, there is another two. Another two, that is one. 1 plus 1 what? 2. That you will get. And again you will come for third record 1. For this one it will scan. For this one, what is the matching record? Here we have 1. That 1 comes here. Total you will get the 4. But the thing the people will confuse here. They will do the mistake here. For 1 they will count 1, right? So 1. For the 2, as 2 are repeated 2 times, they will continue this 2, they will take as only 1. If you do like that, your answer will go wrong. And some people again will say, have 1 here, the matching record is 1, but already 1 it is there, have counted 1 for this 1 record, and they will not count that 1. Again, that is also a blunder mistake. See, in order to perform the inner joint, first you need to take the record. This 1 is there. How many matching records are there in table B? That first you need to do that. I will start with this record 1. I have found one matching record as 1. It is there. I will keep 1. Then I will keep plus. And I will come to the next for this 2. And I will scan all the records. For this 2, I found 1, 2. There is 1 record. And also I have found another 2. 1, 1. And that means there are 2 matching records are there for this 2. I will keep that as 2. Now I'll come to the third record and I will check, are there any matching records? Yes, I have 1 record. I will keep plus 1. Then I will give plus 4. Then you will get the perfect answer. And don't overthink. For this, there is 1 record. I will keep 1, fine. For this, already these 2 are same. These two are same. I will keep only 1. Your answer will go wrong. Again, you will come 1. For this 1 is matching records. Already I have counted for this 1. If I count, my answer will becomes duplicate. If you do such type of innovations, your answer will go wrong. You should be very specific and they will try to confuse you. There is nothing to confuse. Take record and count the matching record. For this one is there, keep 1. For this 2, there are 2 2s, 2 matching records plus 2. For this one, I have 1 matching record plus 1. Answer is 4. That's it. Now, if you perform left joint, what is meant by left joint? Left joint will pull all records from the left side of the table. Okay, from all records from the left side of the table, and matching records from the right side of the table. So what is meant by matching records? When you perform the left joint, what I said left joint, left joint will also perform what joint? Inner joint. So when you perform the inner joint, what is the output you got? 4. That 4 you can keep here. How you got 4? You can see left joint will perform the inner joint. I said left and right inner joint, they will perform the inner joint. So you come here, left joint will perform the inner joint, I said. So for 1, this is the 1 record. You got 1. For this 2, you have 2 2s. That means 2 records, 2 plus 1, 3. For this one, you have 1 record, 3 plus 1, 4. This is the 4, right? That 4 directly coming over here. So instead of again writing 1 plus 2 plus 1, already I know left joint will perform inner joint. We have performed the inner joint, we got the 4. Directly I am taking the 4 here. And then it will left join will take the records from all records from the right side of the table. So matching one we have for one we have matching record, for two you have the matching records, for one we have the matching record. So what are the other records we have left? 3 and null. So for this 3 you will get you add 1. For this null you will get one record. So 4 plus 1 plus 1, the answer is 6. So it will perform when what is the left joint? It will perform the inner joint. So when they perform inner joint, that 4 we got here. And left joint will pull all records from the left side of the table. So what are the other 1, 1, 2? These are the matching records already we have pulled. For one, these are 1, 2. For this 2, for one, this we have pulled. So what are the records which are left in the left side of table? 3 and null is left. For this 3, I have added plus 1. For this null, I have added plus 1. 4 plus 1 plus 1, I got 6 as the answer. So this is called as left outer joint. Now you need to answer right outer joint. Again, if I perform the right outer joint will also perform which joint? Inner joint. When I perform the inner joint, how many records I got? 4. So I am keeping as 4 directly. Or you can directly count. For 1, we have done one matching record. See, here the 4 will come in a different way. For this one, how many matching records are there? For this one, we have 1 record. And for this, we have how many records are there? This one. That means 1 plus for 1, this have matching records. For the same one, you have the 1 matching record. So 1 plus 1, how much? 2 matching records. Okay, 2. Now for this 2, how many 2s are there? 1. 1, 2 is there. 2 plus 1, how much? 1. 3 records we got. Again, we have these 2. For these 2, how many 2s are there? Only 1, 2. 3 plus 1, 4. See, when you perform the right joint in the right, when you perform inner joint, you got the 4. Okay, this is how you need to think. Now, what is meant by right outer joint? So it perform the inner joint. For this one, there are 2 ones, 2 ones. So I 2 records. For this 2, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1 record, 2 plus 1, 3. For this 2, 1, 2 is there. We got 1 record. So 4. And you can also think like this. Sir, for this null, I have this null. I will count. For this also, null is null. I will count 1. And for this null also, we have matching records 1 null. I will count 1. So 4 plus 2, I will give 6 as answer. But in the joint concept, null never matches with null. Null means blank. Don't relate blank with blank. Null never matches null. See, 1, it is matching records for 1. It is correct. For this one is a matching record, correct. For this 2 is a matching records, perfect. For this 2, this is a matching record, perfect. But for this null, this is not the matching records. The rule funda is null never matches with null. So that's why I'm not concerned. Some people will also do, sir, if you given for 1, this you have counted 1. For this one you have counted. For this 2, you counted this match record. For this match, you have counted. So why you are for not counting this null is a match record. For this null, you missed this. And for this null, you have not counted this null. But null never matches with null. That's in the joint concept. That's why I'm not counting this. Okay. While counting the records on the left side of the table, you can count. For matching per type, for considering the matching, you should not consider the null matches with null. Null never matches with null. Okay. Now in the right joint, when you perform inner joint 4, we got. So for this 1, 1, for this 1, you have 2 records. For this 2, 1 record. For this 2, 1 record. Okay. We have matches for 1, this 2 ones, 4 records we got. And right joint, when you perform right joints, it pull out all records from the right side of the table, right? But 1 is a match records we already considered. 2 match records considered. For this 2 is a match record we have considered. So what are the other records are left? 4. For this 4 we have added 1. For this null we have plus 1. For this null plus 1. So null while matching will not consider, but as a record you need to consider. So that is also rule. Again, you should not say, sir, null never matches with null. You have not considered the null while matching, but why you are counting here? So as this is also a record, I need to count here. But for matching concept, I will not consider. So in the left joint, have considered. See, in the left joint, match records are left. What are the non-matching records are? This 3 is a non-matching, null is a non-matching records. 1 plus 1 I have counted, right? So you need to count here. But while matching, you should not count. Now, right outer joint. See, right outer joint, we have 4. And what are non-matching records? We have 4. We don't have match records for 4. 1 for null. 4 this record for 4 we got 1 null plus 1 for this null plus 1 you got 7 record. And what is meant by full outer joint? Full outer joint means it perform inner joint. When you perform inner joint, we got 4. Already we have count the inner joint over here. And from left joint, 4 plus 1 plus 1. But 4 already we counted for inner joint, right? 1 plus 1. So you will mention as 1 plus 1 over here. Right outer joint. Right outer joint will perform inner joint, right? When you perform inner joint 4, already we have counted 4 over here. What is the left? 1 plus 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1. That means 4 plus 1 plus 1, 6, 7, 8, 9. When you perform the full outer joint, you will get 9 as a. So in that way, you need to answer. If they change the tables anyway, if the table, a bigger table of 10 lines, 2 lines, sometimes you will give the table with 2 lines, only 2 rows. Here you will give the 10 rows, but you should not confuse. For every record, go and see the match records are not there. Match records are there. For every match records, you count as 1. That is the rules. Very simple rule. Now we can ask, what is a Cartesian joint? Don't go for any logic. If they ask, count the rows of table A. 1 row, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 into how many rows are there in table? 1, 2 row, 3, 4, 5, 6. 5 into 6, 30. You will get 30 records. That is the final answer. So this is called as a Cartesian joints. So in the interview, definitely they will ask, they will mention in the chat box, you will mention the table A and table B. In the final output, they will ask a question. How many records I will get when I perform inner joint? How many records I will get when I perform left joint? How many records I will get when perform the right joint? How many records I will get the full outer joint? How many records I will get when you perform the Cartesian joint? So this is the way that you need to understand. First, you need to understand what is the definition for it. Okay, you need to understand, and then you to see the employee table view, and you are getting the result. And after that, you need to solve this example. And after completing this video, try to listen the record this at this area last. Try to complete it, listen it twice, and take any example from the YouTube or somewhere in the internet or from ChatGPT, and try to practice 2 or 3 questions. Then you will never make any mistake if someone asks in the joints. So many of the people, even the experienced person, they are not understanding the logic. Even 5 or 7 years experienced persons, they are missing the logic and they are answering the questions wrong in case of the joints. They know in the SQL, they ask the question related to the joints before attend the interview, they know. But when they ask some logics inside, they are confusing. The reason being, while counting, they are making the mistake. For one, you count this one, it's over. For this two is a different record, this two a record. You need to plus, you will consider for this, you need to take 1. This two also you need to take 1. Again, if 1 is there, you need to consider 1, the match record as 1. Don't think already I have for 1, I have counted 1. I will not count here. If you go for that interpretation, you will get the wrong answer. But if you stick to the basic, whatever the question they will ask in the interview, you will able to answer the question. So as of now, I will stop here and I will explain what type of the different joints are there. Inner, left, right joint, full outer joint, Cartesian joint. There is also other joints called as left anti, right anti. For all this, you will study the practical application and how you will implement those joints in the Power Query. In the next class, we'll try to implement. How you implement, what are the concepts you have studied. What in the slides, those concepts we'll try to implement in this Power Query. How you will perform different types of the joints in the Power Query in the next class. Okay, right. So I'm stopping the recording over here. I may continue, but it will take some time. Again, it will become a confuse for you. My intention is go and practice this session. Listen this recording I'm posting in the group. And once you are understanding over here, then if I start how you are implementing in the Power Query, you can be able to relate easily and you will be able to understand more easily. And if they ask the questions, any type of the question in the interview, you will be in a position to answer the question. Okay. So I will stop the recording over here. Right. So is